to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 268 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. And yes, we can officially say it is race weekend, which, I mean, obviously there's been racing since the championship weekend back in November, but NASCAR weekend is this weekend. Can't believe it. Clash. I'm not a fan of the fact that we've got to wait an off week between the Clash and the 500. We're all used to speed weeks, if you will, and everything kind of being back to back there and just getting bombarded with racing from practice and qualifying for the Clash and the duels, the 500 and all that. But hey, at least we got some NASCAR to watch this weekend, and I'll get into that a little bit later in the show. This past weekend, though, as you all know, I am a diehard wrestling fan. It was the Royal Rumble, and I have to be honest, man, what a lackluster Royal Rumble. I wonder if our friend Dustin Albino from jski.com, who also is a big wrestling fan, would agree with me on that. I'm sure he'll be on the show in the very near future, and am going to be very curious to get his take on all that. But me and a handful of buddies, we get together every year. We draw numbers, and we have a fun time with the show, which was awesome. The Women's Rumble was great. Ronda Rousey's back and won. Obviously kind of predictable once we saw her make her entrance into the Rumble, that we knew what was going to happen, but that was cool. And then the biggest shock of the night, Paul Heyman turning on Brock Lesnar. And once that happened, it was predictable. We knew he was going to be in the Rumble and win. So a little ho-hum for me, but hey, we'll see how they set up WrestleMania now over these next couple of months. Other than that, weekend was pretty low key, some last minute baby stuff. As each week I'm on here and I'm saying, I don't know when, and eventually it has to happen. And so that window is, we're officially in the window, and could happen anytime. So recording this on Monday, trying to be as proactive as possible, and trying to get and stay on routine for the show with as little interruption as possible. But stay tuned to social media for all that good stuff. Last week was the annual Lap Traffic Fantasy show. Still have spots open if you want to join this free and competitive league with some swag, some custom trophies, all that good stuff. We're right around the 100 mark there. Shoot an email to fantasylappedtraffic@gmail.com with your name, email, and Twitter if you have one. All the details are on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. Click the fantasy link, and that's all there for you if you're interested. Still plenty of time. There's nothing in the league as it pertains to the Clash, so still got a couple weeks if you want to get in on the league. So there's that tonight. Pretty excited. Got two ARCA drivers lined up. Got Amber Balcaen, who's going to be making her bid for the ARCA Championship, and Josh White, a United States Marine Corps vet, who's going to be making a few limited starts in the series this season, as well as Dr. Aaron Studwell is going to give us our first official weather report this year, and he's going to stick around and talk some NASCAR silly season. I know everyone knows what's been going on, but we'll chime in with our 2 cents and see who we can annoy, if anything. So there's a lineup. There's all that. So let's keep things rolling. Let's get Amber on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making her first appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. She is from Winnipeg and looking to carry momentum from a strong 2021 by competing in her first full-time season in ARCA, running for Rhett Jones Racing. Welcome to the Lap Traffic Podcast, Amber Balcaen. Amber, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the show. Excited to start kicking things off here for season 6 with some guests and getting ready for the season to start. First off, I saw on Twitter today you're getting married this week. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's that's an exciting time. Are you going to try to squeeze a honeymoon in before racing starts, or are you going to wait?
No, I mean, obviously, I need to have a very supportive partner to be doing what I'm doing. So he's agreed to push the honeymoon after Daytona because I got a really big race to prepare for. So
Absolutely.
he's an athlete himself, and he understands that. So yeah, after the wedding, it's all about preparing for Daytona, and then we'll have some fun after Daytona.
I love it, Amber. I know you come from a racing family and all that, but from Winnipeg, Canada, we're thinking hockey. What got you into racing?
So I'm a third generation race car driver. So my mom's father raced cars, my grandpa, and my dad also still races dirt late models to this day. My uncle and cousins race sprint cars. So I grew up in a dirt track racing family and have been going to the track since I've been in my mom's belly and just fell in love with it right away. And my love for the sport just continues to grow as I get older.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that on the Facebook that you've been going since before birth, which is really cool. Talk about your family's legacy, up in Canada.
Yeah. Well, my grandfather's in the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame. My dad's in already a few Hall of Fame. So they've had a lot of success. And growing up, when I raced go-karts and mini sprints, it was, this is, the Balcaen and Kennedy's daughter. Like, what's she going to do? How's she going to do it? And so there was that little bit of pressure growing up. But I was also the only female in my family that was racing. So I just worked hard to make a name for myself. And I think transitioning from dirt track racing to pavement was kind of that breakout from creating a name for myself, because no one really knows me in the pavement world. So I've had to really, work hard and gain that sponsorship and be partnered with great people to help build my name in a whole new industry.
Oh, that's awesome. You're going to be running for Rhett Jones Racing, who has a vast background in ARCA racing. You ran a limited schedule in the past there. Talk about how you got partnered up with them and, how you've been working, getting ready for Daytona.
Yeah, so the ARCA Menard Series has always been my goal when it comes to racing. I've just really wanted to race at legendary tracks like Daytona and Talladega and all the great tracks that we get to run in the ARCA Menard Series. So last year I was able, after a lot of years of trying to find the financial backing to move up to these larger series, I had Icon Direct come on board, which is an RV parts manufacturer out of my home province of Manitoba. So really great to have them on board. They came on last year and we did Bill McAnally's driver development program. So that was really great because it gave me a lot of seat time. And because I'd never had the financial backing the last 5 years or so, I really needed that seat time. So being a part of the Drivers Academy and then doing a couple ARCA West races, kind of getting my feet wet in the series to feel that I am prepared for the ARCA Menard Series. So last year was all about learning, growing, and developing my skills to be prepared for this year. Now in the off season, of course, I'm at the gym almost every single day training. I have a driver trainer in North Carolina to do a lot of kind of mental synapse kind of training. And then we have iRacing that we like to utilize. And of course, watching video of past races as well. But when it came to who I'm going to race for in the ARCA Menard Series, I had a lot of conversations with a lot of different teams, and Rhett Jones Racing just seemed to they really fit me because I see myself as an underdog and they're a smaller team, but they still work really hard to produce good results. And it just seemed like such a good fit. Mark Rhett is such a great guy, and I'm so excited to get to race for him. And then Terry Jones, the co-owner, he's Canadian, and my sponsors are Canadian. So to kind of have a driver, sponsor, and co-owner all be Canadian, I think is pretty neat.
Are you going to split time between Canada and the U.S.? Because I imagine that would be a challenge trying to, from a schedule, travel, airlines, all that kind of good stuff.
It is, yeah, especially with COVID now. It definitely is tricky to fly back and forth. So we will reside in North Carolina. My fiance plays in the CFL, so I will be flying back, on off weeks to go watch him play. But other than that, we'll be in North Carolina. That's where you have to be if you want to be in the ARCA series or NASCAR. So. Absolutely.
That's cool. You mentioned Icon, a Canadian-based company. Talk about their level of excitement, getting some extra exposure here in the United States.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, in Canada, NASCAR isn't largely popular. So there was a lot of, knowledge that I had to give them of what this industry is about, what this sport's all about. And they came in because they resonated with my story being an underdog and not coming from money and working really hard to break these barriers and get into national levels. So it's been, I've learned more and more about the RV industry, and they've learned more and more about the NASCAR industry. And the more they learn, the more they love it. So that's all I can ask for. And I'm really excited for them to come to Daytona and see this level of racing and for their excitement and involvement. But it's been an amazing partnership so far, and it just continues to grow and get better.
Absolutely. That's cool. All right. So you mentioned a little bit ago, in the ARCA series, you're going to be going to some iconic tracks. It's going to be your first time at some of these tracks. We got Daytona right around the corner, Charlotte, my home track, MIS, is on the ARCA schedule. What are some of the tracks you're excited to get to for the first time?
Daytona has always been my dream. I've been going there for a long time, and I've visualized me racing there for years and years and years. So for it to finally become my reality is going to be a huge moment for me. And then, of course, Talladega. It's just such another big legendary track that I like to go fast. So I enjoy the super speedways. And then because I have a dirt track background, I'm really excited to go run the dirt races as well. I'm hoping that we do really well and can, put up some good finishes for my dirt track family.
Sure. You did run some pavement races last year, through the developmental program that you mentioned. What was one of the, what were some of the hardest things for you personally to make that adjustment from dirt to pavement?
Yeah, I think because 2 years ago I did run dirt, and I was running a midget, which is a super light car, just two completely different racing services, obviously, and the car itself is so different. So really I find with dirt, it's more about the feel from underneath you is kind of how you drive, and you're looking for the traction, and you're, down low in 1 and 2, up high on the cushion in 3 and 4. And pavement is not like that. You need to be consistent and hit your marks every single lap. So I think my biggest challenge was just having that consistency of running the exact same lap time for the entire race, not just, the first 5 or 10 laps. And then another big thing was just learning the cars and learning what the car is doing and being able to properly communicate that to my crew chief so that he can make the proper adjustments to make us faster. And I think that's something I really progressed on last season, was really understanding what the car is doing, what it needs, and being able to communicate that to the crew chief. Because even though the driver gets, all the accolades in racing, it really is a team sport. And if I can't do my job and articulate what the car is doing to the crew, they can't give me a better race car. So I think that was probably the biggest thing that I took away from Bill McAnally's Drivers Academy.
Sure. No, that's great. First Canadian female to win a NASCAR sanctioned race. You did that back in 2016. Talk about the responsibility that you take upon yourself as an up and coming female driver, for the little girls at the racetrack, and reaching out to them, letting them know that, hey, while it tends to be a male dominated sport, you can do it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my biggest motivation of continuing to pursue this dream and being in this sport is not only to show other women that, look, women can do anything. Women can be a part of male-dominated sports, male-dominated industries, and still exceed. When you put the helmet on, the car doesn't know if you're a male or female. It just knows there's a driver. And I tell all younger girls that, when you're racing, don't focus on gender, focus on being a race car driver, because that's what you are at the end of the day. And another side of it is really showing not only females, but just the underdogs, people that don't come from money, that, just because you don't come from money doesn't mean you can't work your butt off and make it happen. And I've had so many people tell me, you don't have a famous last name, you don't come from money, it's not going to happen, Amber. And I refuse to believe that. And I just want to be successful, to show people you don't need all the tools in the toolbox to build the life of your dreams. You just need to be dedicated, work really hard, be consistent, and disciplined. I think it requires a lot of discipline.
Absolutely. I love that. Amber, Daytona, we know it's right around the corner. You mentioned iRacing and all that. What's your, as we get closer and closer to green flag there, what's your day in, day out looking like right now from a, preparation standpoint?
I'm working out every day in the gym, and then watching video, iRacing, the test was big because just even having that communication with my spotter of the terminology, because I've never raced at a super speedway before. So kind of being prepared for what it's going to sound like in the radio, and then just kind of having a game plan of going into the race, which, is, I think, just going to require a lot of patience and consistency, and just try to be there at the end.
Absolutely. I mean, that's it with plate racing, right? Be there at the end and you got a shot. I love it. Amber, well, listen, I hope you have a great season. I hope everything is picture perfect for the wedding this weekend. I plan on being at a few of these races for the ARCA series this season. So maybe we can do a quick one of these in person at one of the tracks. I hope everything works out great for you. Look forward to talking to you. Maybe we can get something scheduled mid-season and see how things are going for you.
That sounds great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Tell everyone where they can follow you, your sponsors, all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So you can sponsor me. Well, you can sponsor me too if you want, but you can follow me on Instagram at AmberBalcaen10, Twitter at AmberBalcaen10. My Facebook is Amber Balcaen Racing, and then my sponsor Icon Direct. You can follow them on Instagram, Icon Direct, or Twitter on Icon Direct. I think they also have a Facebook page, and also to go to their website to order parts for your RV. It's icondirect.com.
Awesome. I love it. Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Amber for calling in. Amber, best of luck this season. Enjoy the last few off weeks. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Amber. All right. Lap Traffic Nation. How cool was that, Amber Balcaen? I mean, a wedding and getting ready for Daytona. That is a lot on the plate. I think I got a lot on the plate waiting for the little guy to make his appearance here, but that's a lot going on there. Can't wait to see how Amber does this year. Can't wait to get her back on. Great interview there. Looking forward to keeping in contact with her. All right, we're just going to keep things rolling. There's no format tonight. There's no segments, anything like that. We're just going to keep things rolling. So let's get Josh White on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his first appearance as well tonight on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He is the first Marine veteran to race in NASCAR since 1966. He'll be making some starts this year in the ARCA series. Welcome to the Lap Traffic Podcast, Josh White. Josh, what's going on, man? How are you?
Not a whole lot. I'm doing all right. Just got home from work and, just getting ready to chill and relax, get me a bite to eat, and have a good evening, Hell
yeah. Well, first of all, man, thank you very much for your service. Appreciate that wholeheartedly, man.
No problem, man. If I could, I'd do it again. And,
that's awesome. That's awesome. What? Tell everyone a little bit about your military background.
So I was a combat engineer at 4th Combat Engineer Battalion, Alpha Company. And so basically what a combat engineer is, we get attached to grunt units to assist in obstacle clearance, whether that be IED, minefields, or just flat out obstacles, concertina wire, the whole works. And so, I dealt with a lot of, my unit was primarily demolitions and then obstacle clearance. So I done a lot of demolitions, and then we done a lot of IED clearing, which was hard. Some of these things that they put in the ground, a regular metal detector isn't going to get it. So you got to use your ground penetrating radar, and that is tough. So it was an interesting experience. I kind of miss it. I'd go back in a heartbeat, but they won't let me go back.
So where'd you do the tours at?
I actually didn't go on a tour. I mean, I was activated for Afghanistan, but okay. I didn't get to go, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I maybe it's a blessing in disguise, but I really wish I would have went.
Right.
It would have been a really cool experience.
I mean, hey, to wake up one day, whether it's with family decision or you just wake up with that itch and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go serve my country. I mean, that takes a special person. So I mean, I can only fathom that itch to want to go and do something like that. Because if you made that first leap, I can only, it's probably like getting in a race car. Like you either have that itch and that drive to want to get in that car or to go overseas and kick ass and fight for your country. It's one or the other. You can't half-ass something like that. So
exactly. And me being in the Marines, the Marine Corps mentality and racing kind of goes hand in hand. In the Marines, a Marine isn't a loser. A Marine has integrity, honor, courage, and commitment towards himself or herself, his country or her country, or their family and the Corps. So, you just never give up. I mean, it's ingrained in my head that I can't give up. If I give up, I feel like I let myself down.
Sure.
So,
sure.
I just have this big constant drive to succeed. And, sometimes it gets the best of me. Sometimes it bites me in the rear. Sometimes it pays off. I'm really excited about this year, and I get out there, and I want to have some fun.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to look at everybody like they're my enemy just yet, but
sure.
I want to go have some fun.
I love it. Well, before we get into the NASCAR racing stuff, you mentioned you just got home from work. What's the day job?
So I drive a cement truck. I deliver concrete to contractors and cash paying customers or whatever, and it's pretty cool. It's not bad. I work for a family-owned company that's local. They're locally owned too, so it's not a bad gig. Everybody's friendly, and you just I get along with everybody, and their equipment might not be the best, but I get along with everybody, and I don't have a bad time there. So I'm going to stay there as long as I can.
Excellent.
Until hopefully the racing takes off, so that way I don't have a day job.
I said that about the podcast for a long time. Like, man, I wonder if this thing might ever take. And at this point, 6 years in, it's a very cool hobby that gets some cool perks. And you know what? I got a day job, and that's cool. And you know what? If this is all it gets to, I'm talking to drivers and people in the sport once a week, throughout the season, and having a damn good time. So I'll take that. But yeah, man, let's get you in that car a little bit more often there. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, that's the ultimate goal. We're running the 3 races this year, but we're really, really hoping to get a full season in for next year. We're looking for some big sponsors to help foot the bill. It's a work in progress. I mean, we don't even know what our program is going to be like next year yet. And none of these companies that, I'm going after, or anybody's going after, is quite thinking about next year yet.
Sure.
Because they're more focused on getting through this year. They'll start looking towards sponsorships for next year, right around the end of the third quarter to the fourth quarter.
Sure.
So,
Yep. Did you grow up a NASCAR fan? How'd you get into the sport and racing and all that?
So, when I was 4 years old, I seen Days of Thunder.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Next question, Brandon. Oh, that's great. No, so all right, so Days of Thunder, and that just evolved.
Oh, that was it. I was raised by my grandfather, and he turned out into a person that hated that movie.
Okay.
Because when I was 4 years old, I watched it the first time. I was like, man, this is awesome. And so I would watch it 5 days out of a 7-day week every week.
Sure. That's awesome. I love
he
it.
hated it. And he had the bright idea he was going to get us a race truck. And it was probably the most redneck thing you'd ever see. But he put plywood for doors on it.
Yep.
And then he put 51 on the side. It didn't have no bed. And as a kid, I was looking forward to that so much. And he sold it before we got to do anything with it. I was so mad.
Oh,
so
man.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a funny picture somewhere, man. That sounds like a good one.
There has to. And then he had a 84 F-150 up at our farm. He was like, hey man, got rid of that truck. So, I'm not saying it's yours yet, but here you go. So I painted the truck to look like the 51 mellow yellow car on Days of Thunder at like 6.
That's awesome. That's great. That's great.
Yeah, I learned how to drive a standard by the time I was 8 years old all by myself.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, and a full-size F-150.
So you did some drag racing early on. You've driven some late models. You do have a truck start and a couple of ARCA starts. Talk a little bit about some of those early starts and how some of those came together intermittently like that.
So I'll just go ahead and start from the beginning. I guess you mentioned that I got started drag racing. I did. I got an '84 Camaro that my mom actually gave me when I was like 16, and I just went out and I had some fun. I won some races, and after I was pretty much done with that and wanted more speed, I decided to go circle track racing, went dirt track racing, and I actually won a few there, got some good finishes, and then I went to the ARCA Truck Series, and I done a race there, and that's where I met Wayne Hickson, which was the guy that I raced for a couple of years in ARCA. Me and him actually hooked up and done, a couple starts that year. That was my ARCA debut. I tested at Daytona that year. Didn't do anything the next year, and then in 2015, I basically done an entire full season of ARCA with him. I mean, I missed out on 2 races.
Okay.
But I got 12th in points that year, and the next year I didn't do any ARCA racing, but I done a NASCAR Truck Series start, so that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I haven't done anything since. So, I'm probably got some cobwebs up in there somewhere. I'm probably a little rusty. I'm ready to knock it off. So,
absolutely. So you raced the ARCA Truck Series?
Yeah.
So you probably know. We might go off on a left turn tangent here. Very good friend of mine. Do you know Brad Yunker?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure do.
Brad's a very good friend of mine. Yeah, he raced the ARCA trucks, and he's done some late model stuff, and he's looking to purchase another truck and do something in the Midwest here. And funny story about him. He actually he brought his late model car up here in September and helped us with our gender reveal party and did a lap around the block and had some smoke bombs on the back of the car to do the reveal for the baby boy that we're now having. So yeah, Brad and I we go back. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he is. That's awesome though. I mean, it's too bad about the ARCA trucks, man. They were a good series. They really were.
Absolutely. All right. So like you said, you might have some cobwebs there to shake off. What, you don't have any early starts in the season. So yours are more midsummer. What are you doing to get ready for them?
Well, I'm doing some, Xbox, just playing around. But I am working towards going back to iRacing. I had a setup last year, and it's not that I got bored of it. I had a league, and the league was great. Everything was going good, and then we ended up splitting up, and it just had a bad taste in my mouth. I just said, you know what, I'm getting rid of the rig. And adios. I got rid of the rig, and now I'm looking to get another one.
What for the listeners? Where are we going to see Josh White this year?
You're going to see me at Charlotte Motor Speedway on May 27th, and then in August you're going to see me at the Springfield Dirt Mile at the Illinois State Fair. Love that track, by the way. And then you're going to see me at Bristol Motor Speedway. Excellent. In September.
Excellent. Are you is your team, what's you got alliance with anybody, or how you getting out there?
Yeah. So I've partnered with Club Racing Incorporated. Me and it's not a top team like Venturini, but I mean, they're not too bad either. And
Sure.
Me and Alex gets along really good. And I feel like it's a good partnership. He's low budget like I am, and me and him just share a lot of the same ideas and a lot of the same. We just get along great, and I look for it to be a long partnership. Sponsorship depending. But yeah, I mean, we're going to go out there and give it all we got.
Awesome. Do you have you bringing any sponsors? You looking for sponsors for these 3 races?
We still have sponsorship opportunities available, but we do have some sponsors.
Okay.
So we have our primary sponsor is Kanawha Ammunition. They're actually based out here in Kanawha County, where I live. So I get to bring a little piece of home all the way to the races with me. That's kind of cool.
Very cool. Yes.
And then. So we got a Military Java Group. They make really good coffee. You should check them out. We got Racer Apparel. They're making my racing suit, my gloves, my shoes. All of it's custom. It is going to be awesome. Even if, let's say, it doesn't matter if we're going slow, fast, or whatever. At least we're going to look good. Racer is going to make sure of that.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, me too. And then Signatures for Soldiers. We're putting on the car for Charlotte. Basically, what they do is they take autographed items from celebrities, NASCAR drivers, whatever the case may be, and they'll auction it off to go towards a charity to help homeless and disabled veterans.
Awesome. I love that. You know what? I might have to get with you off air here to see if you can get me in contact with somebody, because I have a bunch of stuff that needs to go to some good causes. So I'd be all about doing something like that. So
well, that'd be pretty cool. I'm sure they'd really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So have you raced Charlotte, Bristol, Illinois before?
I've raced at Illinois. Love that track. I've been there twice. I really think we're going to do good there as long as we stay clean. I'm not promising any wins, but I mean, anything can happen, right? I mean, it's a dirt race.
Yeah. You know it.
Exactly.
Yep.
But Charlotte and Bristol, I've never been at. I've raced on them on iRacing, but I'm really looking forward to doing the real deal.
I mean, how could you not, right? Like, the roar of the Coliseum, man. I could only imagine. For sure. Well, man, listen, where can everybody follow you on social media and keep up with you or reach out if they've got, a sponsorship opportunity for you?
So on Facebook, just search Josh White Racing. I'll come up. I'm actually verified on Facebook, which is kind of cool.
That's awesome.
And then on Twitter and Instagram, just search at Fighting Marine, and I'll come right on up. Don't hesitate to shoot me a message if, for whatever reason, if you're a sponsor looking to get, some sponsorship options, or, if you're a race fan, just wanting to talk, see if there's any hero cards, which we're working on making, or whatever, just shoot me a message. And then for sponsors, they can also find my email, my contact information on my social media as well. Beautiful.
Well, man, listen, I definitely want to keep in touch and maybe get you back on after, you're out at the track and see how it was shaking them cobwebs off for you.
It sounds great. We can definitely do after race updates if you want to.
Yeah, I love it. That sounds great to me, man. Appreciate you having or coming on. And again, thank you for your service. That is just such a selfless act, man. And I know a lot of the followers support the military and all that good stuff. I do as well. I actually got my grunt style hoodie on right now as we speak, to be honest with you. So best of luck this season for those starts, man. And we'll keep in touch and see how things go for you.
I really appreciate it. I enjoyed being on the show, and I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to being on again.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll see ya. Lap Traffic Nation, there you have Josh White, man. That's awesome. Gotta love a guy like that going out there, living the dream, served our country, doing the 9-to-5 grind and is going to go out there and run some races in the ARCA series this year. That's really cool, and definitely looking forward to having Josh back on and seeing how things progress for him this year and hopefully in the future from. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, let's take a little social media break here. Everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. And I've actually done a few TikTok videos. Go check it out at Lap Traffic PC. Like I said, I don't know how much I'll get into that, but it was fun. It is definitely not a lot of work, but it's a challenge to try to make something look good for 30 seconds or whatever the case may be. So we'll have some fun with that throughout the season. If you've made it this far into the show, leave a review. Don't forget, still got the giveaway going on at 6,000 followers, less than 300 to go. Picked up quite a few this week, which was awesome. Matt Bishop at MBish86, mortgage guy like myself, wrestling fan and a contributor to some sports. Actually got to watch Royal Rumble with him this weekend. RJ Carbello at RJ the Fool 25. Cleveland sports fan, NASCAR fan, Corey at Corey 655-11899, another racing fan, Mike Haggerty at Irish Hag SR, and a Navy vet. So I'm sure he'll appreciate Josh White's story there. The store is there, t-shirts, hoodies. Get yourself some fresh Lapped Traffic swag to kick off the 2022 season. I'll have giveaways throughout the year. I just ordered some new t-shirts to be able to give away throughout the season. And of course, I've got your stickers, koozies for free. All you got to do is go to the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, fill out the contact page with your name, address, and I will send those out for free. All right. Let's keep things rolling. Last bit here, Aaron Studwell and I are going to we're going to talk some Michigan basketball. We're going to talk the Clash, and we're going to talk some silly season stuff and kind of reset some of the changes throughout the year, give our takes and all that. Of course, Aaron Studwell, Brian Newdorf going to be back this year for our rotating weather forecast each and every week, which is going to be awesome. Probably get both of them on here in the next week to set the weather forecast for the 500. But Aaron will have forecast for the Clash for us tonight as well. So without further ado, let's get Mr. Aaron Studwell on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at RaceWeather, along with Brian Newdorf, who will keep us up to date all season long on the weather for the NASCAR season. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Aaron Studwell. Sir, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, sir. I'm doing well. Glad to be back for a brand new season.
Yes, sir. So for those that have been around for a minute, normally if I don't play the normal weather intro, it's normally the Michigan theme song, which was not played tonight. The clown music was played tonight for the silly season, but also very appropriate for Michigan's play performance in the bowl game, if you will.
Oh, and somewhat on the basketball team, but yeah, Orange Bowl, and we move on.
Yeah, yes, that's the talk for that. All right, but I do have to ask. Every year it comes up, Harbaugh's leaving Michigan, and this year they're bringing the heat even more to where there was supposed to be an announcement possibly today. I didn't see anything that he's going to the Raiders, he's going to the Vikings, he's going to Chicago. I mean, all the rumors are flying about. What do you think is going to happen with Jim Harbaugh?
The Raiders are out because they made their announcement today.
Good to know.
Bang,
that's just where I've been today.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Just saying. I was listening to NFL Network when I was running around earlier. The only one that would make sense is the Bears because of his history with the franchise. That being said, I truly, this is an uninformed opinion, I don't think he's leaving. I think if he goes anywhere, he's going to want a deal where he's the GM in puppetry.
Yes.
You can have a general manager, but Harbaugh's going to be pulling the strings.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm actually moving my hand around like I have this puppetry thing in my hand.
The marionettes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Man, I got to keep you around for my vocabulary. Yeah, who's the STEM guy here?
I'm with you. I want him back. I mean, I want him back not because I think he's the end all be all, but all right, man, was last year a fluke? Can you do it again? I find it very interesting, the defensive coordinator who we got on loan from his brothers already going back. So that left me with some concern, like, are you maybe leaving and that's why he's going back? But, time will tell.
I think this is the ultimate, and I know we had talked about it in the end of last year. I think he really is going to look at this as unfinished business.
Right.
If he knows he is a quality team, now they're losing a lot of talent.
Yes, they are. But the entire offensive line is coming back. Did I read that?
You are correct.
Yeah, I mean that's huge for whoever the quarterback is. That means you can develop that run game quickly. That means quarterbacks should, and it's not like I'm drawing a blank on his name. You can help me out with the words now. The other quarterback, not McNamara. McCarthy. Thank you. It's not like he got some valuable playing time this year.
I would say so.
So as long as he stays, so now it's just a matter of what can you do on the defensive side. I think that's where we lost most of our players.
I think if he was going to go in the portal, if McCarthy, I don't think McCarthy was going to go in the portal this year. I think it'd come down to what does it look like. So if they're ending the 22 season, and if Harbaugh or somebody, whoever's going to go to him and say, hey, look, you're my starter for 23, stay. Mm-hmm. I think that's what he's going to need to hear.
Sure.
And he gets as much or maybe even a little more playing time, because you need him to get his playing time when we're not only running the RPO.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah.
If you can demonstrate, hey, you got to fear this guy when he throws the ball, which really is the truth. And he's going to mature a year. He's going to have better. He's going to read the field better. He's going to be another year in that system. I think he's going to be. I want to hype him. He may be a top 5 Michigan quarterback by the time he graduates.
And I could see that. And the fact that his arm strength is all. I mean, his arm strength is better than McNamara.
100%.
So I mean, if he can, he made some deep threats. It's like you said. When he went into the game, if it wasn't a blowout, it was kind of assumed what handful of plays he was running. So if he can develop that and get in there more, I think that's just going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think the tendency showed that too. It was 68% run when he was under center, but he doesn't line up under center. So when he took the snap.
Fair enough. All right, quickly, Michigan basketball. I'm surprised that it's still as bad. I can't believe that they haven't reeled this in a little bit. This team is not obviously it's not anywhere near what we had last year. We lost 3 key players and just haven't really been able to get in rhythm. They are, it's Dickerson in the paint, or it's shooting threes that are not hitting, and
they're not falling like years past.
No.
And that's the way they've kind of run the past couple of years. It's live by the 3, die by the 3, and Dickerson's getting his rebounds and getting his points that way, but you can't win a game like that. You can't against a ranked team. Well, I would say most ranked teams. Yeah, you can't win games that way.
No, I mean, they hung on Saturday against Michigan State through the first half, but man,
I was going to say until they didn't.
until they didn't, which was the start of the second half, and then that thing just became a cluster for Michigan, anyways. So.
And you look at their numbers, you look at their bench, you look at the way the season's at least especially the Big Ten part of it. They don't have depth.
No, they do not.
And it goes back to your first point of saying when you lose 3 key players, and you think you're going to have a freshman step up. And Houston has, but his playing time's limited. His maturity, he says maturity's limited. I don't know him, but his game maturity, game
that's fair. Yep.
It'll all come with time.
Yeah.
So they'll, I was just about to say they'll make the NCAA tourney, but then I look back at my notes. 3 of the next 5 games are against ranked opponents.
Yeah,
with 2 against Mr. Newdorf's Purdue Boilermakers.
Yes, they are. They're going to need to have a very solid showing in the Big Ten tournament, I think, to solidify anything over. I mean, I'd say a 10 seed. If
it's that's exactly the number I was thinking too, and they could even be a play-in 11 seed. Ooh. I would not be surprised by that.
And guess. I mean, we all know I'm a betting guy. Guess who I would take in that? Because
who they're playing.
Well, I mean, just the way Michigan's played, they have not shown up for the big games, and it's like I think a underdog school, knowing they're playing a weaker Michigan, would come in with hype momentum, and I truly believe if Michigan is a play-in, they would not make it from there.
Ooh, if they play somebody like a Wagner, and I'm not picking on Wagner, so don't at me.
Macomb Community College, maybe.
Yeah, they're playing Oakland. You know what? Right now, I think they may actually have a hard time against Oakland.
I think they would too.
A good Oakland University team.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's So we just what do? We turn on and we sit and we watch and we. So is Howard back next season?
Oh, man, I think so.
Can I start this now?
Yeah. Which NBA coaching job is he going to next year? Yeah,
I think but they're actually turning it around this year.
Yeah. No, I think they're back. All right, one more non-racing topic, and that's what'd you think of the NFL this weekend, there, sir?
I honestly think the Super Bowl is going to have a hard time keeping up with these last 6 games of football.
Yeah.
The divisional matchups, the championship weekend, everybody says, okay, and it is because we had 4 phenomenal football games on divisional weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, I just sat and I watched, and I want to go off onto your tangent here real quick. Did you see how many people bet on the Chiefs at halftime? Big money.
Dude, I will tell you that I had a quite sizable bet on the Chiefs. Normally I'll spread things around. I'll do, $30, $40 on the spread, on first quarter over, some player props. And I'm like, you know what? That has not worked for me these last 3 weeks. And I'm like, I'm going old school. I'm just taking a spread. And I actually bought the line down a little bit with my bet because it was at 7.5 to open, I believe. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to get screwed on that hook. So I bought it down to 6.5. And I went in very confident on that. I'm like, come on, it's Kansas City at home against Cincinnati. No, I mean, hey, Cincinnati, hell of a bit. We all know what happened. I'm just like, man, the experience of Mahomes and Kansas City being this far into the playoffs, just play your game poised, and let Cincinnati beat themselves is really kind of like what happened with Michigan State on Saturday. Like, it's going good till it doesn't, and I really, and then they're up. I'm like, oh, dude, my 6.5 is golden. And until it wasn't, basically. So,
well, okay. There was I want to go to the play, then I want to go to the betting. Back to the betting.
Yes.
When Burrow threw that interception, and I think it was late in the third, after they had just got it back, I'm like, okay, that's it right there.
Yep.
For the Bengals, they just threw it away.
Yep.
Because they were in striking distance, and then Burrow throws it open. I'm like, and I wasn't rooting for either team, but I'm kind of tired of Kansas City being there.
Oh, I get it. I mean, if I'm the NFL, I mean, their ratings are shot. You look at last year's Super Bowl, which was, I think, one of the highest rated Super Bowls, in quite some time. You got Cincinnati. Again, no knock to Cincinnati. You just don't bring a very strong market with you. You don't have a very big.
They are bringing New Orleans too. The New Orleans is really hooked into this game too. So again, another number 30 something market.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have LA,
who had a hard time keeping, San Francisco fans out of their stadium. So
I know that was awful. And then Detroit. I think Detroit's actually going to be one of the top 5 markets of this game.
I wondered why. I could see that. And if again, the Lions are going to send me a bill for $1,500 here in a couple weeks, and I'm going to pay
how much
it.
of that is actually going? How much of that's actually going still for Stafford's salary?
Right? Yeah. No shit. I'm going to pay it, but it's just. I mean, I'm a Lions.
You're rarely without words.
I know, right? I'm a Lions fan. I'm an NFL fan. I love the game of football. So I don't have the season tickets because I'm like the diehard Lion fan with my, blue face paint and all that kind of stuff. Like
you might have to go with that look.
I might. Now, if I lived in New England, I mean, that's the New England fan I would have been. Like, yes, right. I'd have been there, guns a-blazing, all of that. But like I said, I'm a Detroit fan. I want to see them get into a playoff. I'd like to go to a home playoff game. That's never happened, in my time period. Since the 90s, right? I think it's been since, so I was a little kid.
I was a GM, and my Redskins came up there and rolled them pretty hard.
Yes. So from all of that, like, I'd like to see them do well, but it's like when you look at a team, and that just goes to show like what a well-ran organization or even a mediocre ran organization from an ownership perspective can do. Like the mere fact Matt Stafford was here for 12 years, had 3 playoff appearances in a wild card perspective, 0-3, had 3 or 4 different coaching changes, and then just to go his first year in a new organization and to not only get his first playoff win, but is now going to go play in his first Super Bowl. Like, I mean, if you're a diehard Lions fan, if you're the Lions fan I was talking about 2 minutes ago, I'd be pissed off. Like, why, if you're that fan that pays the season ticket money, why? Yeah. At some point you got to tell the Fords, hey, if that can happen and be just a kick in the balls to Detroit, basically, like, start, make a change.
I think, because they have some, when they are coming out of college, they've got some very, like, hidden talent. Cooper Kupp comes to mind. But they've really you look at what they did this season and what they did to get Stafford, they've really kind of mortgaged the future. They said,
they went all in.
This is our year. Yeah, they pushed all the chips in.
They did what Tampa Bay did last year. Yes. They had Evans, they had Godwin, they got Gronk and Brady, and they had the defense. So that they doubled down. It paid off. Now the question is it going to pay off for the Rams? And if that happens, how many teams are the dynasty of the New England Patriots is over, right? Like, right. How often, when will we ever see another dynasty like that? Or are we just going to have these teams that, pay, for the year, so to speak?
I think the dynasties are possible. I think if you have a core of players who are free agency eligible but want to stay there, that's the kind of culture you need to build.
Sure.
Like you had in New England when you had those dynasties. Free agency wasn't as, say, liberal as it was now, but you had a culture where people did not want to leave.
No.
They would take less money.
Yeah, you got that hometown discount.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Oh, good times. But, we'll see. Maybe Dan Campbell can turn it around year 2 for the Lions.
You know what? You give him a chance. And here,
right.
I want to say something, and I'm going to have Lindsay come like banging on my door. We should do a football show.
Oh, man.
Period. Done. That's all I got.
Oh, man. That might be a little ways into the future, but
I understand that. I just know we do this well.
Oh man, that would be the fourth podcast. I mean, that I'd want to do, like NASCAR, wrestling, barbecuing, and football. Like, which to be fair, that could all be mashed into one because there's so much overlay and overflow of a fan base from wrestling, football, NASCAR, and barbecuing.
Barbecue.
Like, I mean, come on.
Now I'm hungry. Come on, dude.
You want to talk about your all-around variety show like that? That would be something.
The Brandon Crowd variety show.
Right?
Like old school 50s.
Right? Yeah. There you go. I love it. All right, man. What do you say? You want to? Should we talk a little racing?
I want to talk a lot of racing,
All
but
right,
I know
that's fine.
we're limited for time.
Oh no, we're good.
Okay.
All right. So I want to talk first a little silly season here. And I want to, it's no secret what has transpired in the off season and driver changes and all that kind of stuff. But, I haven't had the show yet to talk about some of those and give my takes and, figured let's get your takes on it. But before we get to Cup, which is where a lot of the movement happened, your driver, quick that was my top note. Go figure. had a big driver announcement. So Landon Castle all over to Colleague Racing, which everybody knows how much of a fan I am of that organization. So I can only imagine how many times Landon is going to be on the show this year. What can you comment on to that?
I'm tremendously excited. He is now in a playoff winning car with a playoff winning team. I think this is the opportunity he has needed for over a decade to really be in a quality ride and show what he can do. I expect them to be running up front to win at least the super speedway races. And that's not taking away from him anywhere else, but that's his skill set. He is so phenomenally good at super speedways. If I may drop this real quick, we are open for endorsements. So if your company would like to have Landon Castle endorse your products, services, or whatever, drop me a line. Thank you.
Excellent. I love it.
I'll drop you a check for the commercial.
Sounds good. All right, man. Well, let's just kind of run down the lineup here a little bit of some changes. We'll hit the bigger names here. Kurt Busch making the move over to 2311 Racing to drive the 45. Monster Energy will be the sponsor. To me, this is a signal that Kurt Busch is maybe getting ready to come out with a retirement announcement. Like, hey, I'm going to go help out some friends here, help them get their team squared away with some expertise. Not that Bubba didn't bring that in year one, but hey, let's, is this a favor maybe to Denny? And as he's maybe getting ready to have a retirement year one of these years.
I would say 23 is going to be his retirement year. I think he can actually make the playoffs in the 45.
Sure. I mean,
they have a winning car. I mean, Bubba showed that. The note I actually have on this one, I think this is as much for the team as it is for Bubba. I think to have an experienced driver, I think, Bubba's done a great job in really kind of advancing through the ranks. He's done it the very traditional way, coming up through trucks to Xfinity to Cup, but he's got a lot to learn. And I think Kurt Busch, if he's patient, if he wants that role, I think he'd be great in that role.
Sure, absolutely, I'm with you there. To me, that screams that. It's like, hey, it's a chance. It's like being able to sit behind Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, right? Like,
yeah,
to take the notes and to learn to, just further your game, if you will, is what I see the potential being there, which to me also signals to me that, they're invested in Bubba into the future to make this type of move, to bring in a guy like Kurt Busch, to share that knowledge.
Yeah, because it winds up being an investment for them because you had to buy a second charger, which, from Dale Jr.'s comments, was it last September, October, the market just got stupid.
Yeah.
and he didn't even want to be part of it.
It's like the real car market out there. Like,
I just, you know what? I was happy.
Here's a Power Wheel for $25,000, low miles.
Yeah, I was happier. I just caught that. Hey, mine's close to a Power Wheel. I had to put $2,300 into it this past weekend, and I was actually happier doing that than thinking I have to go out to that showroom,
right,
and look at a new car.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, man. The next one, Brad Keselowski with the move over to Roush, taking the ownership role with the team, in addition to driving the number 6 in place of Ryan Newman. I have talked about this one a little bit, and I'm not saying it's a Hail Mary move by any means, because Brad Keselowski is not a, he's more poised and competitive than, oh shit, I need to throw a Hail Mary and see what happens. But to me, this is a Hail Mary move by a team that needed saving, and to get their name back on the map and to reclaim that notoriety that Roush had for all those years in the early 2000s, with Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards, and their strong stable that they had, that has just kind of fade away. It's just like, oh, there's Ricky Stenhouse, and we'll see what he can do at Daytona or Talladega, and that was about it. That's like all we were talking about from a Roush perspective. So I'm excited that the move happened, and I mean, the more parity that we can get across the sport, the more teams and drivers that can add to that win column. I mean, we saw it this past year of what did we have? We had 17 different winners, just a couple didn't make the playoffs, so when we can start talking about 16, 17 different winners consistently that are in the playoffs, we very well may get to that dream I know a lot of us have of somebody with a win not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. They have gone, I think with this move, they've gone from a mediocre team to potentially a good team. Yeah. But it's not going to be overnight. One guy walking in is not going to change the culture, is not going to change the engineering, the cars, the engines. It has to be, and I don't see him taking it. And maybe I don't know, which I should say back. I don't know, but I would say I wouldn't see him taking a leadership role in this organization. He's going to be busy on track. And it's going to be all the people they have in place now. Are they setting him up for a leadership role when he decides to retire? Oh, hell yeah. I think this is going to be, he'll be associated with this organization till he's at least his 60s.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. And that's, you bring up a good point there in terms of, is the 6 going to be competing for a win? Yeah, I think Brad Keselowski will be able to get that car in victory lane because he's Brad Keselowski and that's what he brings. And that's probably the quick shot in the arm that the overall organization needs, and his name as well. That's going to bring in new sponsorships to probably all of the organizations, which then the company, can take, reinvest, to the guys behind the scenes that will help create that slow rebuild. And I said this a couple weeks ago, if this works and, even towards the end of the year, if this organization, I don't know what their average finishing spot was last year, but just for, simplicity purposes, let's say it was 20th. If come summer racing season, if they're finishing top 15, top 17, okay, there's a slow noticeable change on a consistent basis. And then is that something that, RCR looks at? Is that something that RPM looks at, as hey, this is how you do it right, so to speak. And, maybe we even start to see some other organizations, start to make moves like this to where, again, we just have more competitiveness and parity throughout the sport.
Well, I think my analogy is going to go to football. I'm looking at the Super Bowl. You have two teams going against each other, which use two very different models. Yeah. Where the Rams traded away, I'd say talent, but they got better talent, but traded away draft picks. They really sold the future for this year, maybe next. Yeah. Bengals did it all through the draft. So I don't think now taking back to racing, I don't think there is any one simple way of how to build an organization.
Fair.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Everybody, you can chase it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I worked at a company once. It's like, hey, we may not be the innovators, but they actually coined the term, and they use the term fast follower. And if you're struggling, and maybe you look at somebody, and I'll call this Rick Ware. Rick's not going to listen to this, so I'll say his organization. They went from 4 teams to 2 for Cup.
Yep.
They can now focus and consolidate their efforts on making those 2 cars better.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if you see that move up, say their average finish was 32 to the upper 20s.
Sure.
It's going to be incremental. But then you start getting to a point, it's like, hey, you know what? Rick Ware's a team that's kind of on the come, and they've got a young, talented driver, because that's one thing we are missing in the sport now is we've got a lot of good drivers at Xfinity and not a lot of places for them to go.
Yeah. Yep. You got it.
So if you have somebody like a Rick Ware or Spire into, Spire's a little bit more ahead of the curve, but you make them viable where they're going to be, at least having a sniff at the playoffs come late July, that they're in the playoff conversation.
Sure.
Yeah, I could see that you're going to use what I'll call the RFK model now.
Yeah.
For Roush, Fenway, Keselowski. But if you're going to make a Hail Mary, but here's what Roush just did. You said it earlier. They made the Hail Mary. They put all their chips in like the Rams did to get Brad Keselowski.
Yeah. Yep.
Part ownership, money. Really, I would probably say autonomy.
Yes.
He brings a lot of money in.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. All right. Ross Chastain moving over to Trackhouse Racing with the closure of the Chip Ganassi NASCAR side of things there. This is another organization kind of like, 2311, in my opinion, newer team. But trying to get things going in a responsible fashion. I'm excited to see what Ross is going to be able to do with them.
Yeah, a young, popular driver, and that now makes it look like the Bengals model, where they're getting young talent and let them develop in house. And because they bought Ganassi, it's kind of a change for him, but it's kind of not.
Could I have teed that one up any better for you there?
What?
With the being able to make the Rams analogy to Brad Keselowski and the Bengals. I mean, damn.
No, just popped in my mind. So, no, I think it's good for Chastain, and I think it's good for their organization.
Yeah. And then we got a new team. Well, we got 2 new teams in Cup, but not new to the sport. We got GMS Racing and Colleague Racing, both with charters now. Colleague with 2, GMS with 1, I believe, that they purchased from
that
RPM.
is correct.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see new teams. I mean, GMS, obviously a powerhouse in the truck series, and Colleague, obviously a powerhouse in the Xfinity series over these last few years. I think that's awesome that they're making that investment to also stay in their bread and butter, if you will, and to make that leap and, to test the waters on the Cup side of it.
I will say only because of the drivers, primarily because of the drivers. I think Colleague's going to have a better and more competitive season.
Oh yeah, yes.
Than GMS. I mean, you put AJ Allmendinger at any of the road courses, he's going to be up there for the win.
Absolutely.
So you're looking at a team that could automatically, and I'm hoping he's not the 17th driver. He's got a bunch of opportunities just to lock in the playoffs.
Yep. No, absolutely there. And then, there was one thing I wanted to touch on, and you mentioned it a little bit ago, about Junior Motorsports. And it's just to tease the fact of, could you imagine what this fan base and the mind that they will lose when Junior Motorsports announces a Cup team? That is just, it's mind-blowing just thinking about that. It's I've never put that thought into my head before, but it's could you imagine? Just know a junior's going to be at the track. I mean, he's at the track as it is, his presence has never left this sport. He still has, if he announced a full-time schedule tomorrow, he would go right back to the most popular driver. I mean,
Yes.
can you? I mean, this fan base will lose its shit, which is awesome because I mean, and here's what I would not want. I would not want to be the first driver in his car because the pressure that spot's going to carry. That's going to take a special person to be able to carry on junior legacy while running for junior.
But he's also the guy who's going to know that and bring in a driver who is capable of handling that.
Yes.
He is going to be. You're going to find an experienced driver.
Yeah.
Mid-30s, made the playoffs, and is looking for a change.
Yep. Oh man, that's. I mean,
and my first thought was, boy, the NASCAR like merchandise servers are just going to crash.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and here's the thing though, what number would it be? Because you've got RCR with the 3 and the 8. You've got 88 over at HMS. Like, I wonder if he'd go and have to wheel and deal to get one of those numbers, or if he would, start from scratch.
I could see him paying RCR.
Oh, absolutely.
Some amount of money.
Obscene
I
amount
have no idea what that number would be.
Right? A lot.
But, yes. But you know what? You'd make up for it with merchandise sales.
Oh, freaking week 1. Week 1.
I'll give you $1 million in a percentage of our merchandise sales.
Right. And you know what? and now I obviously no insight whatsoever. Right. But if I'm RCR, I'm thinking to myself, hey, maybe that's the capital investment I need to help turn my organization around. Hey, here you go. Here's the number.
It's actually not a bad thought. That is actually very much the truth. I could see that.
And because here's the thing, too. If you don't, you're going to have the fan base turn on your organization like nobody's business. Like,
no, because that'll be leaked like almost immediately.
Absolutely.
RCR refuses to turn over to the 3 or the 8.
Yep. They're going to need a sweeper crew after driver intros to clean up the stuff that's hurled, onto the track. Like yeah. So that's not a good predicament.
No. I'm not sure where I have 2 more drivers I want to hit on real quick.
Yes, go ahead, and then we'll talk the Clash and get some weather and wrap it up.
Matt DiBenedetto. Oh, how the mighty of one. Let's go, Brandon. And I didn't know he was a live traffic fan.
Oh man, well, I mean, hey, he is. I mean, he's been on the show a lot.
I know he has.
I'm a Matt DiBenedetto fan. I'm still a Matt DiBenedetto fan.
The sponsors are not.
The sponsors are not, and that leads to now a truck series. But here's the thing. I think there is a salvation point here. I think in that, I think Matt DiBenedetto, if he's able to go out there and pick up wins, okay,
yes,
that is something that Matt's been chasing for a very long time. Has touched, has could smell victory lane a handful of times over these last 2 years, and I think that got to him a little bit, as it would, right? Anybody, I think.
Oh, sure.
In his position, that's been each year has been a resume type year in terms of getting that seat at some new ride, some new organization. Hopefully, truck series, right? A little bit more laid back. Obviously, the drive and to go out and win is that competitive nature, any series, any team. But, truck's a little bit more laid back. If Matt can go out there and collect some wins, and kind of rebuild, I mean, I very well could see him back in a competitive car in Xfinity or in the Cup Series, next year, the year after. But it's going to take victory lane. If Matt DiBenedetto could finish second in every race in the Truck Series this year, and I don't know that would carry the weight versus 4 wins and finishing fourth in the standings, or something like that. Like,
right, where it's either you're either going to be if you're a driver like say Stenhouse. It's either going wreckers or checkers.
Right. Again, my opinion, I think Matt needs.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
He
well,
needs
you have
wins.
another person who agrees with you here too. So.
And I'd even go as far as he needs to be in the Final Four. He doesn't need to win the championship, but I think Matt needs to be in the Final Four with a handful of, a couple wins behind his belt.
I agree. And the one thing the sport loves is a redemption story.
Absolutely.
And I have not looked at the driver roster to know who is retired in the Truck Series. Equipment aside, I would say he is a top 5 driver.
Yes.
In the series now.
Well, when you look at, and I'm gonna pull up the driver chart here to our friends over at jski.com here real quick.
Yeah, that's my first spot too. Scott, you're welcome.
Yes, Dustin, we're over there for you. You've got John Hunter Nemechek, obviously going to be up there. You've got I'm scrolling down a bit here. Spencer Boyd very well be able to make a run at a couple of these races. Young Motorsport, they have. I've used this analogy before. They are the Colleague Racing of the Truck Series, in my opinion. They're just developing correctly over the years. So Spencer, is now the veteran driver over there. We'll see what happens. Johnny Sauter, I who knows with what he's going to be able to do. I expect to see some wins out of Tyler Ankrum moving over to Hattori Racing. That organization is a winning organization. They put all of their resources behind one guy. Tyler's a veteran. He's come close to victory lane a couple other times other than his win at Kansas a couple years ago. So that's a team that I could see, doing some damage. Chandler Smith is another one. Up
and comer. Yep.
Grant Enfinger, GMS. I know that guy's going to go get some wins this year.
Yes.
And then you got Matt DiBenedetto. You obviously have some others that are up there. Stuart Friesen, I don't know. He's had some lackluster performances over these last couple years.
He's a dirt guy. He's great on dirt. And I'm not taking away from anywhere else. He's a short track guy. And it's an equipment thing with him. Yep. But so he's another one who's very hit or miss. And I would never say, I'm going to guarantee he's going to have a top 10 at Michigan or Phoenix.
Sure. But so the last 3 drivers, Matt Crafton, Christian Eckes, and Ben Rhodes, right? So we've only rattled off about 10 names. 10 make the playoffs in the Truck Series. So in my eyes, there is no reason Matt DiBenedetto doesn't make the playoffs, and should at least be able to get into the second round, with a couple wins behind him. So if he can do what the possible plan could be there. I'm not going to say it's not hard because I don't want to take anything away from the racing or the Truck Series, but just because you've got so many part-time drivers, part-time teams, and all of that in the series, that was my biggest, complaint when they expanded the playoff field in the Truck Series to 10 was all you really need to do is show up on a full-time basis, and you could almost limp your way into that 10th playoff spot.
But that's a commitment, especially in the Truck Series where the Truck Series is now. That's a bigger spend than some players or some teams are willing to put up there.
Sure. Well, so that's my thing. If you've got a full-time ride, it's very likely that you will at least make the Truck Championship. The Truck Playoffs. So, all right, man. We are headed to the Clash. We got some NASCAR racing this weekend. I'm going to be very curious to see what this entails. Customizing a track at the Coliseum, to help build that West Coast market and all of that, which is cool. I love the format of it. I love qualifying for your heat races. I love the heat race aspect of it. So I love the, your local track feel, if you will, that they're putting behind it. It's just a matter of what it's actually going to entail on Sunday evening. And I know it's early, We are recording Monday for a Sunday forecast here in early February. But, what are your thoughts on the Clash, and how's the weather looking?
First thoughts on the Clash. I'm excited. I agree with you. I like the format. The one thing I didn't realize until I was listening to Sirius earlier today is that the highest in points highest in points that didn't qualify, it gets not an exemption, but a
last chance qualifier.
No, you actually Kyle Larson's guaranteed to be in. Say he doesn't qualify.
Okay.
Something happens to his car.
Yes.
It's like the used to be where the win, if you had previous Winston Cup winners, they'd be guaranteed a spot in the race.
Yes.
So yeah, he's guaranteed a spot in the race. So if something happens to him first lap of his qualifying race,
he's still good.
He's still good.
Yes.
And so then if it's like the top 14 make it, so number 15 would get in.
Okay.
From last year's points.
Yep. Yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
So it's a good format. Yeah, I was just actually had the schedule up here because I had it on the Patreon saw you last night. I'm like, I have very little interest in watching practice, though. I'll just tune in for qualifying.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something about, cars being on the track on the TV, like background noise.
Well, that's true. If I'm home, that's actually a really good call. If I'm home, I may actually put it on.
So, right.
I
mean, if you were to walk into my home office, it is you would think I'm a tech guy because I've got my work laptop on one desk that's got two giant ass monitors on the left and right. So I use all three for my real job. And then on a other
what do you mean real job?
The paying job. Then on another desk, I've got my personal laptop with a giant ass monitor on that. So it's like, you would think I was like in tech. And
no, I would think you're a sim racer. You just push all four of them together.
I wish. So I've been known to have that big 26-inch spare monitor attached to the personal computer on Monday afternoon races while working from home, and that's what I'll do for the Clash. Is I'll have that
my office has I have a 33-inch TV onto Wi-Fi, and
nice.
It's like, oh look, racing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like,
there you go.
Yep.
All right, how's the weather looking?
There's a reason they're having it in Los Angeles. It would be so NASCAR if we actually had a chance of rain in the forecast.
Right.
It'd be so NASCAR.
Yes.
Saturday, sunny, high of 69, low of 45, light and variable winds. Sunday, sunny, 73 over 48, light and variable winds. I mean, you really could not dial up a better forecast. Low humidity, light winds. It's going to be close. It's going to be it's a 3 p.m. start on the main event.
Yes, and then the race
so that's
6.
It's 3. I'm sorry, it's 3 p.m. Pacific. So
yes.
I was thinking you may not even go into sunset out there.
Right.
Although there'd be some great camera shots.
Yep. And then you got 15 inches of snow headed to Metro Detroit this week. So
yeah. I'll have your forecast after.
Excellent.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right, man. So listen, we'll plan on catching you at Newdorf here in a couple weeks for the 500, and we'll have some fun on that, and then get into our usual rotation.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
It has been great. This has been a fun segment.
Yes, this was great. Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you follow Aaron on Twitter at RaceWeather, along with Brian Newdorf at NASCAR_WXMAN. All right, man. Great to talk to you. We'll catch you in a couple weeks.
Talk soon.
All right, man.
Later,
we'll see you. Well, Lap Traffic Nation, that was much needed. Man, it felt good to dive in to some NASCAR talk there with Aaron. So much fun there. Well, that is going to do it for episode 268. Make sure you follow on Twitter at LapTrafficPC. Huge thanks to Amber Balcaen, Josh White, Aaron Studwell. We'll see what we can get set up for next week. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!